Zeri in this situation is only going to get an extra longsword from her back, where Jack Troll finding early Lucidity boots could prove to be very impactful to Vitality.Bee. It's very rare that you'll hear me give credit to supports getting first blood, but I think that in this specific situation actually could work very well for Vitality.
Just not quite connecting with the death sentence there onto Jack Troll. And we had a lot of questions about this Thresh sort of when it was locked in the draft. And really, it's a pick that I think comes online a hell of a lot more in the mid game when you can start to play around people with the Lantern. They can go forward, make aggressive plays, and you're there to bail them out. LDLC actually going to be taking the first Drake in this game, something that Vitality.Bee have been a bit more concerned with, but our reigning champions taking away the Infernal, a little bit more AP, a little bit more AD in the early game.
Yeah, and I mean, an early Infernal, I'll level with everybody. Not necessarily the greatest. It's not good in terms of the stats that it gives you. It is, we're talking 1 to 2, potentially 3 AD and AP that you get picked up from it. But it's going to be great for the scaling aspect as we get later on into the game. As more items do get picked up. I wonder if we could get a little toggle onto DOS. I'm interested in his leveling for the skills this time round. Because we may well see a W max, which opts into a lot more, we'll say, team-wide potential.
I think there's a play being made in the bot lane. I think that was a flash play onto Jack Troll, but the mobility of the Rakan enough to get him out.
And Hex Flash is obviously ready for DOS, so the engage potential is not necessarily gone.
Yeah, Hex Flash available. Real Flash isn't. There's not quite enough damage, not quite enough access for Jeskla to take out the support. And bot lane, I think, going a lot better for Vitality.Bee than it did last game, but Exakick on a champion, very different from the Kalista in terms of her goals.
And yeah, like we've alluded to already, Sivir, obviously very good late game scaler, but doesn't want to be going forward. We've seen really a wide range of what we can expect from Exakick. He's already played a Sivir game thus far this series, but with both Sivir, Zeri, and the Kalista from last game being his last 3 played in this game included, we've got the full range, really, of what every ADC wants to be getting away with. An Exakick this time round is going to be looking to sit back and scale for a very long time, and then doesn't want to go too far forward. Looking for a potential dive on that bot side. Not going to be easy to come by.
And this is sort of what we were talking about. DOS sitting quite far back in the lane, recognizing that if he just pops the Lantern down, it's probably going to be enough to keep Exakick safe.
We don't see Moby Boots very frequently. But then again, we don't see Thresh very frequently.
Ica. Not the best place for you to be right now, buddy. Oh, interrupts the dash from Jack Troll, clean as you like. As the Icas started up this Rift Herald, but members of Vitality.Bee are moving over. A trade of ultimates from these two junglers, but I think that's going to favor Skeens in the long run. Yike does get that Lantern to safety, but it's Vitality.Bee asserting themselves on the top half of the Rift.
Moby Boots diff. Top side, though.
Ragnar could be getting dove here, already pretty low on the Mininar. He's also a little bit tired, so not going to be able to go Mega anytime soon, but just, yeah, using those mobility boots, able to get into just the right spot to keep Yike alive.
And we've seen the common metaphor we've had so far has been, unlucky. Jack Troll, I hate to say it, has been pawns moving about the map, like chess pieces on a board. Yike and DOS, and then Skeens and Jack Troll alike, have always been used in these early games to facilitate plays and to ward off plays as well. Those mobility boots are going to give DOS just a bit more speed when getting to those instances, and potentially opens up windows for LDLC to go for counter plays or for them to go for their own plays on their own right. Need to see them, get away with that and see if they can succeed in that venture. But so far, warding off at least one play successfully.
And I think this is smart from Vitality.Bee, with LDLC moving sort of back into the river and able to secure the Drake, recognizing that, hey, we've got a lot of scaling threats. If we try and contest LDLC now, we could fall down, and this minor gold lead that we've established ourselves could get turned back around, and we've already seen how swingy this game can be if one team is able to find a decisive advantage. So I like that. Real heads-up play.
Wonder where they're going to try and place this one down. I think that mid lane is my leading option, really. Trying to break open a Victor's turret is just so difficult. Now he's got that E upgrade. I think that any chance you can get to deal damage onto a Victor turret is one that you take. So moving that into the mid lane would be my expected goal for LDLC. Whether or not they end up capitalizing on that obviously remains to be seen. But for the time being, it is Vitality.Bee, who, you know, largely have got fairly winning lanes set up. Victor, the first to move out of mid lane, forces the ult from Yike by just showing his face with Jack Troll, with Skeens in this jungle. Zeri constantly pushing the wave against a Sivir of all people, which seems pretty intuitive or counterintuitive from what we may expect. But making the plays on this bot side and just forcing out these small advantages, really important, because with Drake spawning inside the next minute, 30 seconds on the ocean, there's a real world where that ult force is simply just another Drake netted, and Vitality.Bee then evening up those standings.
And the thing is, because of this bot lane pressure, Jesper has actually been able to pick up 2 turret plates solo for himself on the Zeri. That's a kill's worth of gold. For those of you that aren't aware, around about 320, I think, is the number for taking off 2 plates. I've been studying, man. These pop quizzes have
You're welcome.
Have put my air game up.
Yeah, and it'll better you for when I next pop quiz you, and they won't be so easy next time.
I will wait with bated breath, as we may be waiting with bated breath for a dive around the top side, but Shikenda can clear out those minions without much difficulty, as Vitality.Bee, using the pressure that they've got in the bot lane, will take away this Drake 1 apiece in terms of the big flying winged beasties. This
feels like a game 5 middle cut. I don't know about you, but
it really, really does.
This is like everybody is. Nobody wants to make the move that loses them the game, but equally, somebody needs to make the move that wins them the game. And they don't know who's going to do what to succeed in that. LDLC make their move. It is topside Herald and gold into Ragnar instead. Sagenda really being focused down, but now going in.
Yeah, now going in. Here comes Jack Troll. Once again, the Lantern. Actually, the hook connecting onto the Rakan. Brilliant stuff from DOS. A kill for Yike.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous from the LDLC support right there. Question marks around the... Oh. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That is nothing. But question marks surrounding the Thresh, and so far they've been answered well. Oh, no.
Shigenda's just dead here.
Dear.
Yeah, it's another kill for Yike. Not respect the knockback from Ragnar, and Vitality.Bee, they had a pretty calm 10 minutes, but LDLC, they're going to make some moves.
And to me, this isn't LDLC forcing plays. These are unforced errors by Vitality.Bee, and LDLC are doing a very good job at capitalizing on them. I don't want to discredit them in any capacity, because they're recognizing these missteps and they're taking them, but they're leads that should never be given over in the first place. This is example number 1 of that. As soon as this Lantern comes through, you know this Gnar has hop. This is such a good hook to really just get in onto Jack Troll and take him down. No battle dance available, but it's never a hook that should have landed. It's never a hook that should have needed to be thrown, because Jack Troll should never be going for that engage onto the Gnar like that. It's just not a play that's going to go well for you. And LDLC now with a slight gold lead, even in Drake's, even largely across the board. But that top lane turret did fall as a consequence for the overextension up there. And despite the fact that Sagenda was laning really well on the Gwen, its first mythic going to Ragnar, going to Yike, and LDLC the ones who were doing well in the game.
Oh, we might have a play here being made onto Dust. Those mobility boots, not particularly useful when you're already being jumped onto on top of, as Jack Troll finding a double charm as well. Skeens with a kill, and Vitality.Bee going for the dive underneath the tower. No one falls for them, but they get 2 kills.
Great response by Vitality.Bee. They misstep on the top side, but they rectify it with plays in the bot lane. Both bot laners falling for LDLC, and it's going to give kills over to Vitality.Bee. It's in the wrong spots, unfortunately. Skeens already at that Divine Sunderer, and Jack Troll finds his 2nd kill of the game. Not where they want the gold, but it is obviously going to be much more than just that. They get a bit of free time on the Rift. They're able to get a little bit more farm, deny the gold going into the Sivir, and deny that super late game win condition of a Sivir's scaling. And slow it down just a little bit. Not denying it, but slowing it down.
Yeah, and I think sort of slowing it down enables Vitality's win conditions, because the Victor is going to be a hell of a lot stronger when he's got more items in his inventory. That's pretty much a no-brainer. But specifically, this champion kind of operates at the most effective point when you are around about that sort of 3-item point. You're level 16, you can throw down the Chaos Storm, and it one-shots people.
And the good thing for Diplex this game is that really everybody on LDLC is within Victor range. Victor has a fairly deceptive range. The max range of his laser means that he's a very good laner in terms of poking people out. The exception really this game is actually going to be Ica, because if he wants to get in range of Chaos Storm, that's when it may be a little bit more difficult. The Thalia just has a slight range advantage in that instance, but that's going to be in very intricate scenarios that I don't expect we find ourselves in too much. the long and short of this all to say that Diplex should be able to do damage fairly easily this game.
Yeah. That's a reasonable conclusion. A minute until the next Drake spawns onto the Rift. Your eyes are deceiving you, unfortunately. It will not be that Ocean Drake, instead going to be Hextech. That bug has been around for a good while now. It will get fixed at some point, as LDLC using this brief moment of pause on the Rift, I believe, to take down that Herald.
Quite rightly so as well, honestly. I think that they've had topside control, whereas bot side has seemed to favor the Vitality.Bee squad. But I think that this next Drake in 40 seconds time may well turn the tides of this game. It feels like we're building up to a big 5 versus 5. It's not something that we've particularly seen this game, but something that I think both of the teams are about willing and ready to go for. We've got first mythics across pretty much everybody, supports excluded, and at that venture, that's when these teams may start to feel a little bit more emboldened. We've got Tilia, 5 points in queue, spare points in a couple of extra places as well. X-Kick reached that Kraken Slayer, so I would not be surprised to see both teams try and battle for this, but I think that right now LDLC are just a little bit stronger. That Mega Gnar timing could prove to be pretty brutal, honestly, if all things are to be taken evenly.
Yeah, you can see sort of Ragnar just hitting onto that top wave, rebuilding the Rage on the Gnar, one of the probably the most difficult to manage resources, I think, in League of Legends. Obviously, you don't want to be going Mega too early. Otherwise, the enemy team can just sort of wait you out. TP is going to be channeled here from Ragnar, and it is LDLC that have got the first position around this Drake. Vitality.Bee don't need to go for this, and they will elect not to. Second Drake, not going to be game-ending.
Yeah, and Vitality.Bee know that, oh, this is actually a really good Weaver's Wall, actually. I'll hold it, because this is like netting them mid-priority and means that they can get this cheat into the jungle. Is it too much, though?
Yeah, they might just go for the engage. Jacktroll with the charm with the knock-up as well. Doss is already dead, but Skeens is going to be traded back. Shigenta with so much damage from the snip on the other side, but it's not enough to take out any members of LDLC. A blinking health bar for Ragnar, but a health bar nonetheless.
Sivir ulti bypasses them to safety right there. It's a 1-for-1 in a situation that Vitality.Bee really shouldn't have been able to find a fight. Both of these teams making these slight fumbles and certainly getting caught in the Game 5 haze, it feels like. Would have been really good to see them just use Weaver's Wall to get into mid lane and use 5 people to hit that turret where there would have been no answer by Vitality.Bee. Instead, they go a little bit too far into the jungle, try and find a fight, and it's one that is even on all counts. No turrets fall, though, and it means that by and large, there's not particularly an advantage swung either way outside of that dragon going the way of LDLC. Game middle cut, 18 minutes in, and continues to be incredibly close.
And really, I don't think either team is going to be particularly upset at that, because the scaling options that are available, whilst I think in the hyper late game, Vitality.Bee are going to be favored, it's not like Talia, it's not like Sivir become worse champions when you get more things in their inventories.
No, exactly. The Talia, you know, maybe going to be a little bit less favorable than the Victor, and the Gnar maybe a little less favorable than the Gwen, but they are small margins. They are not Olaf versus Vayne margins, you know, in terms of how these functions are going to function later on.
Yeah, it was important for LDLC. They were able to take out that mid lane tower, which means that in terms of vision lines, they can start establishing those a little bit further up into Vitality.Bee's jungle. And those are so important when you've already got 2 Drakes in your back pocket, and a Hextech Soul is definitely a win condition to play towards. Now,
my query, I suppose, for Vitality.Bee is what response they're going to get. And I mean, they've answered with this bot side, but this isn't just a mid for bot trade. This is actually top for bot, because LDLC have already made their way into the topside jungle. They're already just a little bit ahead of the play, and Vitality.Bee proving to be just a little bit slower in certain instances. Jacktroll's looking for an engage, and remember, these Hextech gates, actually fairly easy to get away from situations like that. It does allow you a slight overextension on the map, and for now, again, just quiet, it feels like, on Summoner's Rift. We're still waiting for that big 5v5.
We've gotten into a play pattern which we haven't really seen so far in this series, which is both teams actually being comfortable trading across the map as we get a little bit later. I feel like at this point in Game 2 or Game 3, one of these teams would be looking for a fight. But as it stands right now, they're content with trading objectives on the other parts of the map. Although saying that, we've got 2 members of Vitality.Bee stacking up in this bush, maybe looking for a dive.
Diving Sivir and Talia, never going to be too easy. Of course, Talia's Unraveled Earth does very well when stopping Rakan engages and stopping Wukong engages. This is one of the X factors, the niche interactions that going into the late game do give LDLC a little bit more favor. But obviously we have to get there and we have to see how those particular interactions are going to be working out. I'm liking the build path from Ica. Something you can get baited into as a tier builder is, needing to finish that tier and giving you the little bit more sustainability during these team fights, but instead is opting into damage in its purest form, be that Shadow Flame, be it Rabadon's, whatever that needlessly large rod is going to turn into, and then the stopwatch as well for pure safety. This is 600 gold, 650 gold, where you would be spending that to, buy the safety that you could get from the 2,200 gold, which is finishing tier of the goddess.
And the thing about sort of stopwatch as an item is that its value is so much higher than 650 gold if it is used effectively. That can genuinely be the difference between your Nexus blowing up and the enemy's Nexus blowing up.
That's why the kudos goes into the LDLC's mid laner. Has had a tumultuous series, I'll say. Some games certainly looking favorable and some games ultimately losing the game for LDLC. You'd love to see the Talia step up in game number 5 and 001, 205 CS so far. Not necessarily good or bad on either end of that spectrum. Drake spawning in 20 seconds, though, and Vitality.Bee the ones with large control around it. LDLC probably going to be quite happy to exchange this one for top camps and top turrets. Though yeah, Jack Troll
already seems happy to get that one as an attempted play being made onto Exakick, but the Dark Passage takes him away for the time being as, yeah, Ragnar absolutely free to split push in this top lane to his heart's content, and no one from Vitality.Bee really answering him as of yet.
Looks like Sagenda going to go back to base, pick up a Void Staff before this Drake spawns. Not going to be a particularly big fight, but look at where LDLC are posturing. They want to go for this Baron. Instead, Kraken Slayer plus PD. They are more than entitled to do this with that Sivir. Vitality.Bee going to use 2 people to clear this one out, and the Baron, I'm not sure if it's been started. I don't think it has, and probably got peeled off. Shirelli is to disengage by Vitality.Bee, and they just get a good objective.
Yeah, and obviously with that mid lane tower already falling down, don't have to worry about giving LDLC mid priority because they can't do anything with it. But now we find a game where we are 2 Drakes apiece, 2,000 gold in the lead for LDLC, but the late game scaling threats that Vitality.Bee have are starting to come online. You've already shouted out 2 items here for Shigenda. We've got 2 items on Jessica as well. Exakick is outpacing the Zeri, but you need to keep your eye on these big late game threats.
Now the question becomes, how do these teams set up to generate their own leads? It's going to be around this Baron. Vitality.Bee already making their way over here. In game number 1, we credited Vitality.Bee for their really good setups around neutral objectives. The Baron in particular, they had a fumble on the first one, but the second one was crispy in how they were able to close out the game using it. Now, of course, the difference being that Vitality.Bee do not have a very exaggerated lead in this game, and they're going to have to try and work some wonders. And it looks like they're going to start in the bot lane.
Yeah, Ragnar goes mega, but the hop away interrupted. Will be flashing back as Yike is here to join the play as well. Jatrol roaming over, but he needs to get here very quickly, otherwise Skeens is just going to be falling down. No, it's the Gnar who gets isolated, who gets put into the grave, and Yike with the Dark Passage is able to get away, but he is into the waiting arms of Shigenda. Jessica popping the ultimate as well, looking to go sicko mode on the members of LDLC, but no, just a single pick.
And that's all it's going to be, middle cup. Baron on the other side of the rift. Vitality.Bee a bit too far away to try and make the most of that kill. Teleport expended by Ditplex, and that's the free TP that Vitality.Bee have, because obviously Ica with this Summoner Spellbook cycling through other secondary Summoner spells, so not quite at liberty to TP so frequently. I think he gets 1 pretty much for the game, unless he cycles through them fairly well. Ditplex, though, up here to answer. Happy to move around the map with the team wherever he's needed. Now going to have to be a little bit more cautious and probably play to this top lane. Obviously, the Baron being the big focus. Don't want to ever be too far away from the big purple worm if LDLC decide they want to start hitting it.
About 10 minutes ago, Rude, you called this out as a very much a Game 5 style Game 5, and that has continued. Either team wanting to make the mistake as forced to flash away in the mid lane. Vitality.Bee have made a couple of plays in the last 2 minutes and have burned Summoner Spell off of crucial members of LDLC.
And remember, first of all, if you've not been here, where have you been? But to reiterate the stakes on this game, not only do the winners of this get to go to the finals to face up against BDS Academy, who have got a lot of tape on these teams. It must be said, must be remembered. But this is also the match that sends you to the EU Masters main stage, gets you a ticket past the play-ins, allows you to have that little bit of extra time to prepare for all the teams that you're going to be playing up against in EU Masters, to have that extra practice time where teams don't know what you're going to be scrimming with, what you are looking for, and particularly for LFL teams who have been playing on 12-13, which is so far away from 12-15, 12-16, wherever we end up seeing EU Masters played on. It's going to be very important for these teams to get as much practice in as possible, because Drake changes affected the meta quite significantly. And we need to see how well these teams can adapt, can evolve. And with that time, with obviously this EU Masters main stage ticket, it's a very important game for teams to win, and then very important that they don't end up throwing it away. And that's that tempered aggression that we've seen from pretty much everybody in this game so far.
And I like that you're sort of touching on how getting to the main stage means that you don't have to do all of this slogging through the play-ins, obviously, and you've got a bit more time to yourself. The winner of this game plays against BDS Academy in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
And like you've already said, there has been a lot of tape on show. We've not seen the Diplex Victor before in this split. We're seeing that that's a pick that Vitality.Bee can move towards, and whichever team does progress, they've showed so much that that matchup against BDS Academy is going to be a very, very tough task.
Promises to deliver, as LDLC looking to deliver a bit of a fight in this mid lane. They don't quite find the angle for it, though. Dossie's playing this Thresh very much Janna-esque. We are playing with Lantern at max range instead of playing as the aggressor in these fights. And I think that this is honestly perfect for LDLC. They've got Ragnar to potentially be that engage. And if you find somebody overextended, Thresh can punish. But we look at the Vitality.Bee squad. They're the engagers. They're the ones looking to go forward with the Wukong, with the Rakan. You need to try and play a bit back, bail out the carry that gets a little bit too overzealous. With the Drake spawning in just now, you're going to get to see which one of those it is.
Soul point for whoever picks it up. We are tied 2-2 in terms of the games. Tied 2-2 on the Drakes. It really has been so hard to separate Vitality.Bee and LDLC, but they separate themselves. LDLC moving away from this Drake, and now Vitality.Bee have got 5 minutes till a potential Hextech Soul.
Well, this is... The tension in this game is building so quickly as neither team wants to make that fight, wants to take it and lose out on such a massive advantage. Going to be a very close run thing till the bitter end here between these two teams, middle court, and that is obviously a very exciting prospect. Mid-tier 1, still that bastion for LDLC that they've not really let down, and one that they're not going to all too soon either. Civitalia with wave clear in spades. Getting on access to that tier 1 turret is going to come from a fight, really, if they can win it.
And looking here at Exakick as he zooms away from the mid lane. 3 items. The Infinity Edge on the Civet is such a disgustingly strong power spike, and LDLC can find themselves a team fight where Exakick can free hit like he was doing on the Kalista, like he has done so many times this split. Then it looks excellent for them. Baron started up. Diplex moving towards the bot lane for Vitality.Bee, but has the teleport available.
Shuts him off.
Weaver's wall cuts off Vitality, and they cannot get into the pit in time. Maybe they can get a fight on the back half as, look, there's the engage. Yike, shut down by Jeskla. But again, nothing more, just a single kill. Such a cagey match. Shigenda going on a little bit of a wild chase for members of LDLC.
They are going to get mid-tier 1 turret, but they're looking to stay around. They want to catch Diplex here, lacking on a recall. Ragnar flash.
Double flash forward from LDLC to try and kill the Victor, but he's speeding away oh so quickly with the phase dash. Ragnar should be able to take him down in the end, but look in the mid lane. Vitality pushing down, taking down this mid lane tower finally.
Baron recalls mean they get back to base sooner, but I don't think it's soon enough to take any action at this mid-tier 2 falling. Vitality.Bee making the most of a bad situation. Big flank could be coming through. Ragnar, Meganar, almost prepped and ready to go.
Yeah, but the rage is starting to fall away, and with the Hextech Gate schemes, should be able to get out of this one without too much trouble. Wasted TP at the end of the day.
Okay, LDLC, they do get the Baron, though. Now the question becomes, what can they do with it? 2 minutes still left on the objective before it ends up wearing out. And that gives them about 40 seconds before the Ocean Soul for Vitality.Bee is going to spawn. Mid-tier 2, a formality. We've got Yike down on that bot side to try and push in for the bot tier 2 also. LDLC starting to run rampant in Vitality.Bee's bot side jungle.
Look at Jack Troll. Jack Troll.
He's not based. He's literally in the best position to try and catch them out.
I think he's incredibly based right now, rude dude.
Not the time, middle cut. Not the time.
Exceptional. LDLC take down that tier 2 tower in the bot lane. The final tier 2 tower that stood against them now. The only structures that LDLC need to take out are in the enemy base. Shirelia's pot from Jack Troll, put the grand entrance away. So much time spent by the Rakan looking for the engage, but isn't able to find it. Skins with the clone, gets away. The flash hook, not quite connecting as the Cyclone doesn't lock up the Ikers. They want to go forward. Free pick for LDLC. They continue to move aggressively. Weaver's Wall comes out, but Shigenda not quite in threat range.
Cuts off the wave, but that wall is too early. Their wave is not going to crash in time. If there's wave clear to be had, Vitality.Bee will use it. Trying to push forward, break open the base here. Sivir, Nargoing Mega could be the zoning tool that they need.
Yeah, ooh. Just whiffing that ultimate as the Chaos Storm not really doing the damage that it needs to as well. And LDLC back away. That is an advantage for themselves. That super minion wave is going to be incredibly important for them over the next few minutes.
I know we've been talking a lot about moving pieces on a chessboard, but this feels like the most give and take in a game and the most calculated game of League that we've seen from either of these two teams this series. This has been calculated concessions from both sides and using just a small window to generate yourself an advantage. The Weaver's Wall from Iker to get you the Baron, and then just a little bit of time from Jack Troll to try and find a fight that ultimately doesn't go your way. With Inhibitor falling in Vitality.Bee's bot side base, LDLC have a permanent set of super minions in the next 5 minutes, albeit pushing into their base. Vitality.Bee are going to have to answer that and try and answer this Drake take. They don't need to. They can concede this dragon and draw out this game in middle court. I think that's our eventuality here. Vitality.Bee know this is their soul, but they can't get in, they can't get access, then it's not worth throwing the game for.
And in terms of like item spikes, you're kind of there, but Jeskler is on 3.5 items right now. And obviously, the more crit, the more AD throw on top of the Zeri, the better.
I have no Rabadons either.
This is hang around for this as LDLC pulling the Drake out of the pit.
They should just take this. Iker, big pickup. Skeen's low on HP, and that's going to be enough for that one. So Gender fighting top side.
Ragnar, though, once again whiffing on the nose. That's so much true damage being dealt to big scary dinosaur Yordle. As, oh, that's a flip back onto Jatra, who's forced to dash himself away. Again, rude dude. Objective picked up for LDLC, but any fight around it, incredibly tempered, incredibly cautious.
Iker has been crucial in these objective setups, using the Weaver's Wall to cut people off, and just now using seismic shoves to chunk people out before fights even begin. Rabadon's completed for the Talia. If those chunks are, scary before, now they're really going to boom and really going to hurt your health pool. As we are once again going to reach this little bit of a lull state. We've got 1 minute 15 on the Baron. Attention's going to be turned up to that top side, but reminder, Vitality.Bee's bot lane inhibitor is down. Sagenda is going to be on bot lane duty, or Diplex. One of them with the TP has to go down there to answer the super minions. They've done a good job at pushing the wave into the middle part of the lane. But that just means that if you don't answer that wave for long enough, that's going to be 2, 3 super minions that are going to all pile up at the same time, and they will take your base very quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Amount of damage that they can do beating up onto your Nexus towers is not particularly pleasant if you are on the receiving end of it. We have just seen a Rabadon's picked up for Shigenda, so 3 items now on the Gwen, 3 items on the Victor, and Jessica getting closer and closer to a 4th. Vitality.Bee are in a gold deficit. LDLC have the advantage on the board. The Bees aren't out of it yet. They could still cause an upset. They could still send themselves all the way to the LFL final.
Is there really a more poetic way for this game to end? It feels like it's amounting to one big team fight, one big 5 versus 5. The ultimate hands check between these two teams. Win, you go to the main stage in the LFL finals. Lose, you go home. Both of these two teams have been teasing us, toying us for all 5 games for 4.5 hours at this point. They're going to use the Sivir ulti.
Yeah, to move their way over to the Baron as quickly as possible. The Weaver's Wall still available for Ica, but that doesn't really cut off multiple members of
Not the important ones.
Vitality.Bee. The Baron has been stopped. LDLC don't think that they can take it down, and now Vitality move on to the Baron. They don't need to do this, but they're willing to take the risk.
LDLC just need to stall. Bot wave is going to crash. It's going to be a little while, yes, but when it crashes, somebody from Vitality.Bee is going to have to answer. That's when you generate a numbers advantage, and that is when you have to fight. Look at that bot wave slowly crashing in. 2 super minions now in that wave. It's going to be Sagenda who bases and takes that recall, has to answer, and as soon as he shows in the bot side, that's when LDLC can begin to get a little bit more proactive. This game of give and take, to and fro here. LDLC look to reset, get their health pools back up. Exakick goes back, finishes his Bloodthirster. It's got flash, heal, stopwatch. Killing this Sivir is so difficult. 430 CS, 700 gold bounty. If they can get it, it's a big boost and it probably wins them the game. But getting there is so difficult.
And it was Exakick in game 4 who pulled up a huge carry performance on that Kalista to save LDLC from that match point, and the responsibility is on the man in the bot lane to carry them through to LFL finals, to the EU Masters main stage. Baron has been around for just a little bit, but every moment, every second that goes past without LDLC or Vitality claiming this objective is time that we get closer to that Drake spawning soul for either of these teams. I think that's why we are starting to see the focus switch towards the bot side of the map.
And this is 12-13, Chemtex or Hextech Soul, the most powerful soul that you can get. Both teams starting to get a little bit more aggressive, start to rally a little bit more for this mid control. Vitality.Bee got control over the top side of the Baron. The buff that has spawned is in their control. Squire's Ward goes down. They don't find them starting it out. But all the items have been hit now, middle cot. It is a pure on 5 versus 5, and people have to sort of rally against one another to see who can come out on top. Guardian Angel finished for Yike, where that's not been reciprocated by Skeens.
Oh, Shagenda hunting for Exakick, but the Sivir just responded with so much damage. Vitality.Bee looking to make an aggressive play, but it's getting turned around on them. So far, though, no one going down, as I think Skeens surely is going to be falling down, but flashes away from the knock up, and now Ragnar could chase it down with a Hyperox. Gets a huge slam into the wall. This is a massive win for LDLC, but look at Shagenda. The damage from the Gwen is ridiculous. Ragnar limping away on 200 HP. Another 1-for-0 fight.
But now it's at the important times. Drake spawning in a second. Hextech Soul goes the way of LDLC, assuredly. But Vitality.Bee are going to look for the cross map. They're going to look for the Baron. They cannot do this. They do not have a jungler. The Hextech Soul goes their way. Now LDLC are going to look to fight it.
And there is no way for Vitality.Bee to go. They have to retreat away from the Baron. And in the late game stages, in game 5, where all the pressure is on, it's the team that's been here. It's the team that has made their way to the LFL finals so many times before. That picks up the Hextech Soul, that picks up the Baron, and has put themselves in a dominant position.
I don't even want to try and measure X-Kicks CS per minute right now. This is breaking all sorts of records. It feels like for the LFL has certainly been dominant, and with those full items, he's sitting on that stopwatch intentionally. Wants that one-time activation to which you can then go back to base and pick up a GA immediately after. Oh no, Sagenda. You've been so good for your team. Don't be the reason you lose.
Oh no, the exhaust
no
onto
ghost.
the Gwen to try and buy some time. Has no ghost, has no way of getting out of this situation. Is just dead. Jatrol may be joining him in the death chamber, as well as LDLC chasing forward. Yike in the harrowed path, looking for a stun, looking for anything.
Oh, good dodge.
Of Vitality.Bee. What a sick dodge coming out from Diplex.
No!
Flashback, but it's straight into the double knock-up. This may be it. Ragnar throws Skeens into his team. Shutdowns galore accrued by LDLC. And they're going to send themselves all the way to the final.
EU Masters main stage, they have booked their ticket. LDLC, after 5 games, take this series.
A strong performance from Vitality.Bee, but you cannot deny the quality of LDLC. We'll see you versus BDS Academy in the finals.
Oh, middle court, it was so tense, so close, but just the raw veterancy it felt like. Yes. The LFL Titans time and time again. Doing just enough